Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Abby. I'm an artist, author, and educator. I'm going to be walking you through some of my travel journals for the past years, specifically my New York trips. So every year I try to make it a point to go to New York, mostly to teach workshops. Last year I didn't do that, but this coming summer I am once again heading to New York just in time for Stationery Fest, and I wanted to show you how I've documented my trips to New York for some travel journal inspiration. If you are going to be in New York on August 4, I hope you can come join me. I'm going to be having a little hang in Yoseka Land, so it's called Get Chatty with Abby, like literally. We're gonna get chatty. Consider it like a casual meet up because I know Stationery Fest is gonna be like a big stationery event, and it'll be hard to kind of mingle around and talk to people because of the swarm of things that are happening all at the same time. I'm also mostly teaching while I'm there, so I decided to have a separate evening. If you want to chat, we're gonna talk about the creative journey, journaling, tools, and everything in between. I hope to see you there. I have the link down below. We still have tickets available, and it's going to be an evening hang, so it could be an after work thing for you. Bring your fellow stationery friends because I'm sure they would love it. And you're going to get a special goodie bag as part of your ticket. I hope to see you there. So we have a meaty journal tour in this video, and I hope you enjoy. Grab your favorite beverage of choice. I have ginger mate at the moment because it's very hot right now in Berlin, and let's get right to the video. We have a very chunky journal tour today because as I was looking for my New York journals, I realized that usually the inserts have New York and California or like Chicago on them, so these ones are from 2023 and 2024. So I'm gonna show you some of the New York pages that I worked on. The first one is this one. This was from 2023. The cover is a special edition Travelers Company one because they came out with this hotel cover from 2022. And then when you buy the cover, it came with this specific insert. So I went to New York in July, and then I went to California in August. So I just put everything in one because it has like 64 pages. I think it just made sense. This was my first visit to New York after, I want to say 5 years, so I really wanted to make the most out of this trip. Also, RIP MetroCard, still kept one here. And I really enjoyed documenting this, I remember, because it was just like, oh my god, what does New York look like now? I want to see. I kept the luggage tag, so I took Delta. I was in this hodgepodge of like figuring out what I could do during my limited time there, and also it was my first time teaching workshops around that time. Maximize the 8-hour flight by watching Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Oh, I really love that movie. And then I arrived, I was staying at my friend who lived around Wall Street in Fidi, so we had dinner at Tin Building. It was my first time there, really loved it. And then also this trip I took the air train for the first time, so it was like a public transport to get to the city instead of taking a cab because I only had like a small, I think I had a medium suitcase, so I didn't really have that much to lug around. This has to be my favorite spreads, or one of my favorites, because in the Tin Building they had this card for Fulton Fish Co. I just love it when business cards are like this. So this is like a little oyster shell. And then I decided to kind of stick on the other stores I went to with really nice cards. So East Village Postal, look at the detail. And then this one, I don't remember this store at all, Cursive New York. I have to refresh my memory. I remember the minute I arrived, the next day I was like, I'm gonna make my way to Madewell. So Madewell is a clothing company, one of my favorites. I got a bag actually. So this is the tag and this is the card. This was the day that I was super jet lagged. So I went to Think Coffee, and then I went to Washington Square Park to just chill and draw. And it was nice because it's in the morning, so there's nothing really much going on. Like the day's just starting to, trickle in. So I decided also to go to Milk Bar. I'm a huge fan of Christina Tosi. She's the creator and owner of Milk Bar. I love their soft serve with cereal milk. It's really good. And I really love the contrast of this like pink and blue. Kind of wanted to play around with that for sure. Around this time, I also got to reconnect with my cousin who lives in New York. I have two cousins who live in New York, and my other cousin took me around Harlem actually. It was super nice. We did like a little walk around Harlem. I went to her university in Columbia, and then we even went inside the libraries. She doesn't even go here. And also, we passed by Hamilton's house, and at the time I wasn't into Hamilton yet. So actually the lore kind of got into me later around like 2024 or 2025. So this was very like brownstone-esque themed. It was like this really nice feeling of like revisiting a place when I was 25 in 2018, and then now I'm like 2023, I was 30. So revisiting a place like gave me a lot of like insight into who I was back then and who I am now. There was also this lingering thought of like, should I move here? I always think about that at the back of my mind, but I feel like now that I'm really settled in Berlin, I don't really have those thoughts of like moving on a whim. Who knows what happens in the future, right? This is also one of my favorite spreads because at the time, my good friends Brian and Denise were living in New York. So I made sure to spend some time with them, and we did a lot of things. We went to have this omakase dinner at Shin East. Really good. I saved the menu and then I added notes. I think this is the best way for me to remember exactly what I ate. And then before we had omakase, we got coffee at 10,000 Coffee. I think it's a Korean place. And then we went to Chaan, and then we got our nails done. It was super like fun girl time. And this spread is like very inspired by like all the greens and browns because we had matcha espresso drinks, I think. Yeah. It was a really, really nice and memorable day. Okay, now we're heading to more of the trip highlight for that trip. So that trip was the first time I ever taught workshops in New York. And I gotta give a shout out to Daisy and Neil because they took a chance on me. They asked me like, would you consider teaching in New York? Because we'd love to have you. That's how I ended up teaching in New York. And then I started to branch out to California and eventually going to other fests and events. So I saved all the class pictures and then I printed them in this strip that I had done at the drugstore here in Berlin. It was also, I haven't seen Daisy since 2018, so it was so nice to hang out with her. I got my partner shop stamp, and this was a whole like recap of the experience. I was really nervous also because, you know, I've never done workshops since. Like my last workshops before this were like 2019. I was also in this like moment of self-doubt. I was going through a lot with my personal life. I didn't know what else to do in Berlin and stuff. So this was a really nice way to remind myself that I still, like, I am doing good work and I really, really enjoyed this time. Okay, more shopping. I mean, to be fair, every time I'm in New York, there is not a day that I don't go shopping. So my trifecta with like shopping in America is Madewell, Glossier, and Everlane. Although I don't know what to feel about Everlane right now because they got bought out by Shane, right? So I don't know, but this was the time, okay? So I bought barrel pants because they were on sale. I went to Glossier. I even kept the sheet, and obviously I always keep the name tag. And then they had this limited edition sticker, which I got like a lot of, the Glossier one for Brooklyn. I also have their tote bag where I store a lot of my stationery and supplies. We went to WoHop because I requested to see the restaurant that The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was shot in, like for the final season, and I was a huge fan of the show, still am. Yeah, our inside joke is like our group is called Bad, like bad guy Billie Eilish, because Brian, Abbey, and Denise. And then around that time also, I didn't really have that much New York stickers, so I printed a lot in my home printer. So this is just like from a clear sticker paper, and then this was the 10,000 Coffee card that I just kept. I think this is the last spread for summer. It was like kind of a recap. I love doing these kinds of spreads. It's kind of like a filler one, but also I wanted a space to paste some of the photos I took. I think there were a lot that I took around Manhattan this time because my trip was mostly in Manhattan. The only time I got to go to Brooklyn was around the time the Yoseka stationery workshops were, because Yoseka Stationery is in Greenpoint, and then I walked around Williamsburg, you know, kind of grouped it around the same day. I also didn't mention it here, but one of the days I actually got to be part of the store staff for an afternoon, which was super fun. And then we had dinner with the Yoseka team. Honestly, core memory. Chicago Art Institute, my first time there. I kept the tin building card because they had this one from the restaurant, but they also had this one from like just the general tin building because they have a lot of stores inside. And then May Lawa. This was really good. Like, what did we get? Roast pork and pineapple buns. You know those Cavallini & Co. stickers? I had some left over from New York, so I used some of them here. Yeah, I had like a 10-day trip, so this is like a little recap. I had stamped Yosekas, you know, they have this stamp in store, so I stamped with this, cut it up and put it here. Also filmed some videos with Daisy. There is a video called Inside My Pen Case. I will link it down below if you want to check that out. And then here are some photos of people I got to spend time with. So this is my, I would say, like last spread for this 10-day trip. There's like a lot of leftover stuff that I didn't really know where they would exist. And then when I pieced everything together, I was also in this experimental phase of I was printing photos in different sizes, you can see here. So I was like, okay, maybe there's like a blue thing that I could work with. And then the baggage tag was also blue. So I decided to just group everything together. Most of my favorite moments were mundane, like strolling at the park, having a nice iced coffee, chatting with friends, taking the ferry. Oh, I did love taking the ferry. I still do. The best $4 you can spend to go around New York, especially on a good day. I really love this cover. I wish they sold this as a part of their permanent collection because I feel like I would eat that up because it's just so fun to decorate with, look at these, like stickers and stuff, like kind of like baggage tags, as you can see here. No, this video is not sponsored, but I wanted to give a shout out to my patrons who help support my creative journey. We have a Creative Growth Club on Patreon, and every month I share rewards in the form of, sometimes I share journal scans actually. Journal scans, we have live streams, there's also exclusive posts and monthly mail in case you'd like to check that out. I'd love for you to be part of our little club on the internet. I'm really, really grateful to every single patron who has provided support and been part of this club because it allows me to live and work as an artist in Berlin. I'm truly, truly grateful. And now let's go back to the video. Next one. This one is very special because this was a really, really, really busy New York trip. 2024 Stationery Fest, the first ever Stationery Fest. This is a mix of New York and San Francisco. I'm trying to figure out where it divides. I think, yeah, it stops here. Also, I'm gonna be honest, this was a pain to finish. I struggled finishing it because it was just too much. So here in the cover, I stuck around with a lot of different stickers that I had on hand. So this was a TSL one that I got for free. This was a sticker that Job designed. I super love this because this was the Apple, like Brat Summer. Wow, that was the time, Brat Summer. And then I looked through my stash. The Pan American World Airways sticker from Travelers Company. They had a USA one, and how fitting was it that it had both the Golden Gate Bridge and the Statue of Liberty. So it's like San Francisco and New York, literally what this was. At this time, I have been converted to United because of the direct flight. So this is the hotel that me and Christine stayed in. We were roomies for a whole week. I also asked Christine to get me a Hedley and Bennett smock. So if you've gone to my workshops, I'm always wearing some kind of apron, right? This is what it's called. It's the smock. And then I have this cutout from Russ and Daughters. Also still have a Madewell. What is that? I don't remember what I got. I think I got a pair of denim shorts, if I'm not mistaken. The first few days there, it was around the weekend. I did meet up with this time around, I got to spend time with Jika. She runs a food blog called The Foodie Takes Flight. Really amazing. I will link it down below. We went to the Brooklyn Museum because it was free and there was a Paul McCartney exhibition. What are the odds? Like, I love the Beatles. For that, we did have brunch at Chematante. So we had those iconic pancakes, really, really good. And then before that, I met up with Liz and Tim and Christine. We went to queue up at Radio Bakery. So I drew a couple of things that we had. Damn, this heirloom tomato croissant still lives in my head rent-free. Kettle, really good tea, matcha. I got ice shaken matcha. And then Ramirez tacos. This was such a far cry from my usual spreads, but I had fun because we went to Shop Object, which is like a trade show. I mean, I'm not a buyer. I just like going and looking at trends and stuff. So there were a lot of cars that they were giving away, brochures, and they kind of matched this this like colorful summer whimsical vibe. Even the washi tape was gifted. This one is, I would say, more of a touristy day in East Village. So this was the day we met up with Job and his sister Christine, and then I was with Christine, so we had two Christines, and then we went around East Village. So we first met up at East Village Postal, and then we went to Blank Street Coffee, we went to Nico Neko Sakaya, we went to 886 for lunch. It was so good. And then we had ice cream at Van Leeuwen, and then we went to Goods for the Study. So, fun fact, I was showing this to my workshop students at Stationery Fest at the time, and then I think someone pointed out, like, they were like, oh my god, this sticker is reversed. Oopsie, my bad. I'd like to think it adds some charm, so I never changed it. It's so funny. So this is me and Joe. It was so fun because I think this was the time that I realized, like, oh my god, we're all in this like work event together. We're kind of in New York. Like, who would have thought? Really enjoyed too because we discovered this place called Taco Sando. Their sandwiches were really good. The branding is really good, so I saved a lot of those. And then I have to give a shout out to Michelle, who helped us out during the first day of setup, and also she gave me these New York themed washi tapes that I got to use throughout the documenting process of this. And then this spread is more of a little homage to my workshops that I taught. So have some class pictures that I stuck in, and also the volunteers who helped me out, Courtney, Mavel, and Lara. Here, couple more pages. This was fun because, again, I love these happy accidents where you kind of just figure out how everything mixes. Like, I had this card from 886, Levain cookies. I think someone had gifted me this. This one is actually from Sonny Angel. They had a New York City edition one. Me and Joe got, he gifted me one, right? Yeah, we had twinning Sonny Angels. And then this one, we had to store our luggage, so I kept the tag. I think the day after Stationery Fest, me and Christine had a nice day around Brooklyn, and then we went to this place called Acre to grab lunch, a celebratory lunch, and then we got pizza at Pauly G's, walked around Williamsburg. So this one was also a fun one. This was the last full day. I met up with Job and his sister. We had lunch at Momofuku, and then before that, I was going around West Village. So I saw this open sign that I really liked, so I drew it here. And then I went to the Locavor variety store. They had a lot of fun stickers. And then I got a pouch from this brand called Maptote, so I kept it here. This is their, they had like a New York City pouch. I still use it up to this day. It's like where I put my medicine, my keys. I'm trying to figure out, I think this is one of those like New York, yeah, it's like one of those New York touristy maps that I picked up. But somehow I like that in a regular size insert, if you do put in a map like this, it's easy for your eyes to follow the open spaces where you can write. Also, story time. I'm reading it here. I was so anxious because I had to take a TN photo by the Manhattan skyline. This was Job's orders. This was a side quest. So I took a ferry, and then I had to cross my fingers that I would make it to the trip because you had to queue in line for the ferry, and there was a long queue, and the sun's about to set. But luckily, once I got in, I was able to take a photo of the sunset with my TN. Was it like a New York newsletter that they wrote for Travelers Company USA? So yeah, that was good times, good times. I love that New York has like a lot of dominantly green elements for some reason, unplanned. Once I arrived back in New York, end of August, I had like 3 full days to kind of go around, and then I booked a hotel in Williamsburg. So once I arrived, I got bagels from Essa Bagel here. So Monday, I did reset, and then I had early check-in, so I was able to rest a bit. I wanted to show this really quickly. I thought it was super nice. This was kind of like slam book energy. I had apparently in the US, they call this hags, like have a great summer. I asked friends to write messages here. Yeah, I found it really special. It's my favorite spread, actually. So I had this really big sticker from Big Bud Press. It's like, where do I put it? So this is like overflow of stuff. I got to meet Megan Wang for the first time. So we had coffee. It was a fun day. Also got to spend time with Othan and May. And then my cousins. This time I was getting tired to like fill up everything. As you can see, there's like a mix of ephemera and stuff. After a while, you know, how many stickers are you gonna paste on? Or like, it gets really, really exhausting. And I think I was reaching around that point already for this time. One was a very fun Wednesday. I got to go walk around Greenpoint. I had I think I had lunch with Neil and Daisy. We were talking a bit. And then I decided, you know what, this spread has to just be purely yellow because I had like a mix of other things that I was kind of wanted to include. I had dinner with Liz at Shan. Black Seed packaging was super nice. This day, this photo, so iconic. I remember it clearly in my head. I was walking around one of the parks in Brooklyn and I was like, wow. And it was 33 degrees. It was so hot, but I was like, wow, she's a New Yorker or whatever. That was a vibe. That was a vibe. And then this, I think, is like the wrap up. Yeah, this is the wrap up because I didn't know where I could put my Stationery Fest ID. So I put it here. I feel like that opened up a new chapter for me in my creative career. Like, I taught at Stationery Fest. I did SF Pen Show. It was very tiring, by the way, looking back. I exhausted myself so much. But I also learned so much from the process. And also, it allowed me to really look at my job from a different lens, and I think I needed that. I have like overflow of ephemera. As you can see here, there's like a note from Min here, and then we had an ink swatch party at Christine's place, so these are some inks. Yeah, that was it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little journal peek. Anyway, thank you so much for checking out this video, this meaty journal tour. I haven't done these in a while. I kind of missed it, you know. I was just like, oh, it would be so nice to show you some of the pages. These are like memories that I hold dear with me. So grateful for all these experiences. And as you may or may not know, New York has a very special place in my heart. It was the first city I wanted to move to, actually, not Berlin. But sometimes life just throws you into really different directions. And now I'm somehow here in Berlin, in my lovely office, filming this video and sharing with you my New York journal tour, and I'm really looking forward to visit this summer. Definitely gonna share a little vlog behind the scenes of what's going on at Stationery Fest. I also am looking forward to meet some of you at the travel journaling workshop, and if you ever find me lurking around Stationery Fest, feel free to say hi. Don't be a stranger. It's gonna be a fun summer. I'm only gonna be there for a short time, but I'm going to make the most of it, definitely. I don't have grand plans for this particular trip except to just hang around and eat at least one bagel, at least one bagel, definitely gonna have more, and go to Target and Trader Joe's and get hot bar lunch or dinner from Whole Foods. Very specific request, you know, very specific. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Happy summer, and I will see you in New York or online or at our Creative Growth Club. Thank you so much for watching, and take care, everyone. Bye.